Thanks for joining us on National Focus. I'm Jarna Hector. Coming up, Dominica's Environment Minister is proud of government's climate resilience efforts, and DOWASCO makes an appeal to consumers in light of the current dry season. Stay with us for details of our headline stories and more after this.
You're watching GIS.
Thanks for staying with us. Dominica's Environment Minister, Dr. Kenneth Daru, is heartened by the achievements of the DLP government in climate resilience and green energy development. Honorable Dr. Daru was speaking at a consultation on Wednesday where Dominica's Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project reported on the island's progress in implementing its pilot program for climate resilience. The minister is inspired by Dominica's accomplishments in matters which are of great concern to other small island developing states.
As minister responsible for the environment, I am very much encouraged by the progress and the strides we've made in Dominica over the past 5 to 10 years. Not only in putting policies and programs in place to address climate resilience strategy. Of course, I'm even more encouraged by the issues we have the various sectors. And I think Mr. Pascal will agree with me. Once money starts coming in, of course, we will have the attention of everybody. Money always gets the attention of everybody. But not only is the financing part of it, but the various sectors have started to look at the issue of climate change, not just as an academic topic, not as something that a few, I've studied in the past, a few quote-unquote mad scientists are talking about in some remote university somewhere. But we've experienced firsthand in recent years the effects of climate change.
Small island developing states have been vocal about the need for larger developed countries to play their part in both sustainable energy development and the climate resilience capabilities of small island states. Honorable Daru is optimistic that Dominica's green energy pursuit is on a positive path.
So your government is therefore taking measures to position ourselves to take advantage of the opportunities that are and will be available as it relates to climate resilient and green initiatives. And of course, I can speak to our geothermal initiative. When implemented, is going to be a win-win-win situation for all concerned. Of course, it would ensure our own little contribution towards decreasing greenhouse gases. Not that we have any significant contribution, but with the proposed sale to French Department of Guadeloupe and Martinique, that would also contribute towards the more developed industrialized nation of France contribution. Of course, it would mean that with the availability of a clean, green energy, that we'll probably see much more. Green investments, much more companies, offshore companies, coming to invest in our energy sector.
In other news, the Canadian Hunger Foundation, in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, hosted a national stakeholder consultation on Wednesday. The meeting sought suggestions from stakeholders for the further development of the Irish potato subsector. Director of Agriculture Ricky Brumans considers this consultation a turning point for the industry. He explained that the ministry is seeking to gradually decrease the quantity of white potatoes imported into Dominica.
We have worked in white potatoes for a number of years, and in the Ministry of Agriculture we have seen white potatoes as a game changer for us in the sector, in the agricultural sector, and we know we will do much better with potato as a commodity. We know we have farmers that are very satisfied with yields over the years, but like I said, this is not the true potential for us. We import into this country a substantial amount of white potatoes, and what we say in that strategically so through interventions, we want to cut down on that yearly, that we ultimately will satisfy our tables, satisfy our pockets, satisfy the incomes requirement of our families by these determinations.
Wednesday's meeting is part of ongoing efforts to implement the Propel project in Dominica. Propel is expected to provide assistance towards the development of the potato industry. Brumant believes that the input of stakeholders is critical to the success of the industry.
The Ministry of Agriculture has looked at a number of crops that will certainly build the agricultural sector. And so we've positioned them or grouped them into different categories. And white potato certainly is one of them. And by bringing all the stakeholders together, by bringing all the agencies together, the business owners together, the exporters together, importantly to the farmers together, the technicians, we're going to set a tone, we're going to set a pace to ensure at the end of the day, multiplied millions that come into that leave the country through imports will stay here. Most of the times we believe that it's bringing in money that helps, but also if we can keep what we have and not push it out. I normally tell people France don't need our millions of dollars. Florida don't need our millions of dollars. We need our millions of dollars. We need to have a complete stake in our development, with assistance, of course. And so the Ministry of Agriculture will continue to platform itself and lay the foundation for ensuring that the farmers of this country realize that income, that benefit, employment is realized, and so the country will develop.
He noted that government is already seeking to host other consultations for additional crops.
Because of things that the experts tell us, not only things we have seen over the years, but because of things that the experts told us, we know we can do it. We know we can substantially change our production in white potatoes. And so we are unfolding a series of consultations: bananas, white potatoes, root crops, cocoa, coffee, coconuts, because we believe this is the way to build our sector, by farmer engagement, by stakeholder engagement, and so white potato is part of this process.
Brumant expressed his thanks to officials as well as stakeholders for their steadfast commitment to the agriculture sector.
Dr. Paquette, who is spearheading this local work with CHF, we want to thank her very much for her energy and of course her input and support to the Ministry of Agriculture. And Mr. Maury and Mr. Polios and the farmers here, Mrs. Biscom and Rose, and of course persons who buy the potatoes from the farmers. Mr. Green is here as well. Let me thank you for being part of the process of developing the sector. I do not want to leave and not say thank you, because you are important to me, you're important to the government, you're important to the country, and so I want to extend that heartfelt thanks to you.
Stakeholders also discussed introducing new potato varieties to growers in Dominica and the collaboration strategy for improving the Irish potato industry in Dominica. A trial run is also planned for Irish potato processing at a multi-purpose packhouse. In other news, General Manager of the Dominica Water and Sewage Company DOWASCO, Bernard Etinoff, wants nationals to assist the company in managing the island's water resources. Etinoff told reporters this week that in light of the current dry season, customers should manage their use of water.
We should not waste at this time, because if this drought continues for too long, we may have to take certain measures to ensure that conservation takes place. We are not fearful that we cannot provide water, but we just want to alert our people that they should assist us in managing the scarce resources that we have at this time. We really don't want to get to the point where we have to impose anything. We just want to educate people that, let us all be neighborly and help each other. You may not be able to water your lawn as frequently as you used to, the grass will come back when the rains return, or when you can in fact use more water. You may want to wash your car once a week as opposed to every other morning or every morning. With a hose running all the time, you want to use less water to wash your cars and things like that. So it's basically, we're not at a situation as Jamaica is, for example, if one is found washing a car, they would be taken straight to prison. We're not at that point in Dominica. We still have an abundance of water that God has blessed us with. It is just that where we have most of the water is not where the people live. So we have to bring the water to people. And the sources that we use to bring water to people some of the more vulnerable sources, so persons can assist us in managing and conserving that resource.
Okay. You're watching National Focus. Still to come, the Honorable Telecommunications Minister says he has faith in the NTRC.
Did you know the Caribbean Court of Justice is 2 courts in 1? The CCJ has 2 functions: an original jurisdiction, which deals with your right to move between CARICOM countries freely, and your right to move your money and your business. This is the basis of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, and the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, and an appellate jurisdiction to hear appeals from courts of those countries which decide to use it as their final court of appeal and no longer go to the Privy Council. All CARICOM member states who have signed the agreement establishing the CCJ are members of the CCJ.
Welcome back. The Honorable Telecommunications Minister, Kelva Daru, believes that the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the NTRC, is more than proficient in its ability to regulate the telecommunication companies in Dominica.
The NTRC also has its mandate to be a regulator within each jurisdiction. That is to ensure that the regulators, the telecommunications providers, they pay the spectrum fees, they make their contributions to the Universal Service Fund, as well as they ensure that the pricings and the whole idea of open market is maintained within each individual state.
He revealed that these funds are used to improve the lives of Dominica citizens.
With the Universal Service Fund, this is a fund that the service providers make a contribution to based on the annual profits. So in Dominica, all of the telecoms providers, they make a contribution to the USF of, it started off with 0.5%, and now I think it's about 1% that they contribute annually based on their profits to that fund. And these funds are used to promote and to enable full access of telecommunication services, to improve on broadband access throughout the countries, as well as to take on projects that would improve on the whole broadband and telecommunications within various jurisdictions.
The Honorable Telecommunication Minister notes that these funds have already proven useful in Dominica.
The NTRC has in fact commenced several projects with the use of the USF funding. I can name 2 of the projects of the bat that we've undertaken. One being we've improved the broadband access in some rural communities, that is Bells and the Concord area, with the use of the USF funding. Before, there was no access in that area, but with the USF funds, we were able to put in the infrastructure within that area and increase the broadband capabilities there. So now if you go to the interior of Dominica, places like Bells and Concord, you would be able to get services there as well. Some of these funds were also utilized to ensure that at the Dominica State College, we now have a Wi-Fi zone here. So you're able to access a wireless network for the Dominica State College with the use of these funds. And several other projects are on the cards for the use of these funds. What we're trying to do, and we have to look at it again, is to ensure that as the government, we are able to work closer with Hector to ensure that greater use of these funds.
Meantime, the Honorable Minister Kelva Daru is disclosing that telephone service all over Dominica will soon be addressed. Honorable Daru recently returned from a regional ministers of telecoms meeting in St. Lucia. He says a number one priority of that meeting was to make reliable telephone access available throughout the islands.
The issue of broadband access has always been a concern for us. And in Dominica, we still have our challenges. You travel from Roseau to Portsmouth, and if you're using your phone, you'd realize that at several points, your call would drop. Now, why is that happening? Why is there no service? In a community like Miro, which is, they say, it's below the sea level, you have so much challenges in Miro to receive calls, to use your data plan and so forth, because of the broadband that is available in the area. So we again have challenged Hector, given them the responsibility to meet with the service providers so that they can further develop their infrastructure as it relates to broadband, so the consumers can have a readily available broadband service that they can benefit from.
Honorable Daru notes, however, that Hector is working with service providers in the interest of both consumers and providers.
The infrastructure that the service providers put in place with all of this fiber optic and the running of wires and so forth of the place, it's an exorbitant cost to the service providers. So at the same time too, we have to be mindful of that as consumers. And that is why we've asked Hector to sit down with the service providers and to come to an amicable resolution as to how best we are able to have a level playing field and to ensure that costs across the board, whether it is roaming charges or whether it is connection rates between service providers, is looked at, and we can have a cost that will be beneficial to both the service providers and the consumers.
The Telecommunications Minister explains the effectiveness of consumers monitoring their own broadband service.
A lot of times the consumers are paying for a service, but they themselves don't even monitor the service that they're getting. And that is important, particularly with broadband, that we've noticed. So a consumer may purchase 500 megabytes of broadband service of data, and you may have fluctuations throughout the month. And there may be times within a period of time that may be peaked, and maybe times that he may have no service at all. So it has to be monitored, and the consumer has to get what he is paying for.
Honorable Daru reaffirmed that he takes his role to protect the rights of Dominican consumers very seriously.
While it is true that the service providers, they provide a business and a service to the consumers, and they may have every right to make a profit, but at the end of the day, I have a responsibility to ensure that the consumers get the service that they pay for. And moving forward, we can only continue to work along with the service providers to ensure that government ensures that we do what is necessary from our end, and they do what is necessary from the end to ensure greater accessibility across the board.
And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Alors tout le monde, bienvenue à ce nouvel en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, le gouvernement Dominique qui continue les relations avec Venezuela par Petro-Caribe. Parole celle-là sortie du ministère Petro-Caribe, Honorable Reginald Ostring. Compagnie là qui a célébré 10 anniversaire depuis établi ici.
Relation là, c'est qu'à double assis en premier ce que nous pour respecter l'un et l'autre. Nous c'est des pays qui ont indépendance, nous pour respecter l'un et l'autre et nous pour double en solidarité avec l'un et l'autre. Relation c'est une relation qui est bien sérieuse comme ça. Premier ministre Roosevelt Scarrett et prend l'autre temps pour développer ces relations ça là. Et nous avons dit que l'on monte quoi qui après un président Chavez à mort qui relation là qui est venu mauvais, mais nous avons en bas Maduro, nous avons continuer à consolider relation là et pour nous expander et en tant que venu nous avons annoncé plus programme, plus projet nous avons tapé Venezuela avec relation à nous ni avec Venezuela nous avons tapé plus bénéfice de Venezuela. Comme ça moi dit nous en bonne relation et la relation sur la dit que continue parce que nous respectons les relations là et nous respectons le pays, nous respectons le peuple et le monde des pays ça là ça.
La nouvelle, ça fait qu'à concerner l'argent, moun ka paye ça ou quoi roaming rates pour télécommunication, ça doit faire attention pendant le meeting Hector qui tient en Saint-Lucie. Parole celle-là sortie du ministère Télécoms, Honorable Kelva Daru, qui représente Dominique en meeting cela.
C'est place ça là. On l'autre bité nous te parler code c'est roaming rates, le monde aller hot place ou ici là. So si ou sorti Dominique et puis vous allez Saint Lucie, vous faites un téléphone call, un monde qui est là au Saint Lucie, vous voyez un message ou open un email. Plus tu pour payer un price qui plus haut. Et puis nous dit Hector pour accéder et puis c'est service providers encore. Et pour faire une discussion et puis garder qui avenue yo ça pour pour yo lower ces cost sala pour roaming cost en telecom secteur là.
Ça fait broadband aussi discuté.
Nous t'ai parlé programme broadband et puis ça c'est un bit qui est important. Plus si on est broadband qui bon ou ça faire parler ou ça aller en internet ou et puis ou ça fait ça nous faire. Mais si broadband là est pas bon, consumer n'a pas ça fait rien. So nous directement pour challenge ces service providers pour yo faire broadband access pour yo faire bit pour uplift upgrade ces infrastructure là ou place OECS là et puis toute bagaille ça là. Plus c'est un bit nous pour faire nous en ICT age là, nous age technology et puis nous pour faire bit profitable pour ces consumers là.
En d'autres nouvelles, programme PPCR, ça c'est pour faire mitigation changement climatique, s'adapter attention pendant une consultation qui prend place ici mercredi. Officier Banque Latin ensemble et stakeholders joignent pour discuter programme là. Dominique tapé succès de Banque Latin pour financer le programme là pour 39,5 millions de dollars l'Amérique Hot Climate Investment Fund Banque Latin. Projet Dominique sélecté ensemble et puis 17 d'autres pays pour piloter le programme changement climatique. Dominique déjà mis un comité ensemble pour faciliter le programme là. 13 projets identifiés pour taper attention en parmi Chimay, DAL, un système pour monitorer le mouvement latin, ça crée seismic activity en parmi d'autres. Et puis finalement, un groupe monde conservation venu ensemble et puis organisation pour conservation tortue en Rosalie. Organisation net qui travaille en Efosala. M. Simon George, c'est président net.
Nature Enhancement Team, qui ça net. Nous avons fait protection, nous fait protection, recherche avec tortue marine. Nous-mêmes, nous travaillons, c'est à souplage dans Rosalie. Bon, nous avons 3 espèces de tortues qui viennent poncer souplage la Rosalie. Nous avons tortues, ça veut dire kawaii, en français, ça tortue loute, leatherback. Et nous avons aussi tortue verte, ça c'est green turtle. Et puis l'autre là c'est tortue imbriquée. Ça c'est, on dit ça en créole, mon créole tortue cahouette. En anglais c'est hawksbill. Mais ces tortues ça là, ils ont venir sur la plage là, tous les années, ponzi.
George fait parole qui plage location Rosalie, bien unique pour ces tortues là.
Mais côté nous même, c'est plage qui est plus doux, plus meilleur pour que tortue là kawaii. Car là c'est un tortue qui est spécial. Vraiment, nous avons 7 espèces de tortues en monde entier. Hein? Bon, ces tortues, ça 6 fréquentent la mer nous en Caraïbes. Hein? Celles tortues qui ne pas fait ça sont tortues où pour joindre ça en Australie, que ça Australian flatback. Mais en 6 tortues Caraïbes là, c'est 3 qui viennent Dominique et tous les 3 qui viennent la rivière civique. Mais c'est cette sortie ça là, ils ont séparé ces scientists là, ils ont séparé des tortues ça, ils mettent des groupes. Tortues kawaii là, quand on va dans un groupe, pas quoi même. Et bien toutes 6 les autres tortues là, dans l'autre groupe là.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non moins, c'est McPherson St. Louis. Au revoir.
Coming up next, how you can save by growing your own herbs.
Get in and fasten your seatbelt, okay?
Mom, why do I have to wear seatbelts? I do not want to.
James, when I ask you to fasten your seatbelt, please do as I say. It's for your own safety and protection, okay?
Yeah.
Protect yourself, protect the child. Always fasten your seatbelt. Crashes can happen at any time. It is better to be safe than sorry. Remember, seatbelts save lives. A message brought to you by the Violence and Injury Surveillance System Committee in collaboration with the Pan American Health Organization.
Everyone knows that the good smells which come from the kitchen are mostly from the fresh herbs which you purchase every week. But do you know that you don't have to settle for dried herbs just to save money? It's easy to grow your own in your own kitchen. To grow well indoors, herbs need as much natural light as possible. Place them in a sunny spot near a window where they'll get at least 4 hours of sun daily. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching and join us again next time on National Focus.
Grand Bay Village Council presents Fête Isidore 2015, a celebration of culture and achievement. Come be part of Dominica's grandest village feast from May 21st to the 25th. Fête Isidore in South City, Grand Bay. It's the Feast of St. Isidore 2015 in Grand Bay. See you there.